This is the most divisive issue in sim racing. I've had thousands and thousands of comments on my YouTube channel over the years, and in this video I'm going to finally try and clear this up. It is of course camera choice in sim race. Now you might find it surprising, but most sims, even the hardcore ones, let you drive in different cameras, Assetto Corsa, Competizione included. Some sims don't let you do that, like iRacing, you have to drive in the cockpit. And obviously when you're driving in VR, you have to be in the cockpit as well. There are some exceptions in Gran Turismo to that. But I'm going to use Gran Turismo here as an example because it lets you drive in the front of the bonnet, on top of the bonnet, behind the car in third person, and in the cockpit view as well. It gives you so much choice, but are you driving in the right camera angle? Are you actually driving in the wrong camera angle for you? What is the right camera angle? What is more accurate? What should we be doing? What is going on? I'm going to answer it in this video. So, we're going to run through some of the different pros and cons of the camera angles, and I'm just going to tell you this transparently. I don't have an agenda here. I'm not part of big camera. I don't get paid depending on what camera angle you use or don't use. But we're going to start off here with the cockpit camera. You can see we're in an old-fashioned car here. Now, when you're in cockpit camera in a video game, and I'm looking at it here on the screen as I'm doing this voiceover, this is so different to real life. It is so different to real life. I cannot explain it. When you're in real life, you never have the sensation that you're only looking at, what, a third of the cockpit you can see in front of you. You have a much wider peripheral vision in real life. You can sense the speed of things going past you in the window. That's how you can judge braking points. You can let your subconscious do the work on the outside of you, whereas you can look a lot further down the track. Now this is the thing, in a video game in 2D, it's very difficult to look far down the track because of the way that three-dimensional spaces are portrayed in 2D. What do I mean by that? Try and look down the track here. How much of the track can you actually see? You can hardly see anything because it's compressed into just a couple of vertical pixels, and you don't get that in real life. You can really sense depth as well as height and width. So here we are on the bonnet camera. This is, or the bumper camera. This is much better, by the way. Bonnet camera. Let's get it technically right. This is much more like what you perceive when you're in the car. This sort of freedom, and is much better for using your sense of peripheral vision, to understand where you are relative to other cars, to open up. It's more inviting to open up corners, you can see here, aim for apexes. So I recommend, actually, if you're looking for an experience that's more akin to driving in real life, then use this bumper cam. Gran Turismo is a bit weird because some of the cameras are on top of the actual hood of the car, the roof of the car I should say, and some cars are actually on top of the bonnet, so you can get a wildly different sort of field of view. But when you have a camera like this one that's on the bonnet itself, this for me is where I'm faster in Gran Turismo. Like, I'm significantly faster in this camera than third person camera. But controversially, third person camera could be the quickest. I know a lot of you think this isn't the case, but the fastest drivers in Gran Turismo, some of them drive in third person, like Valerio Gallo here. He is insanely quick. Here's Baptiste Beauvoir, one of my favourite World Tour drivers. He also drives in third person. So why are these people driving in third person? Well, if you're coming from an esports level, the advantages that third person camera gives you are almost like a cheat code. You can see the extent of track limits and how they relate to your car exactly. And when you're racing at the very highest level, a level higher than I do, it really is all about maximizing track limits, abusing track limits right up to the pixel. I'm not exaggerating. If you watch the guys at the top of Gran Turismo, that's what they do. And you can really exploit that in third person because you can bring your car all the way over the curb, all the way to the white line, just keeping a pixel or two the right side and not incurring the penalty. You can't do that in bumper view or bonnet view or cockpit view. So that's why if you want to be someone who wants to be the best racing driver in the world on Gran Turismo, then you might want to start to use third person. Because if you're aiming for the very top, it's going to help. Now, there are some disadvantages driving in third person. I find my reaction seem a bit delayed. or I perceive a delay to my input and then seeing what it does on the car. There are effects on the camera as well that sort of, for me, dullen or deafen the inputs as well, so I'm not exactly sure if the movement of the car is relating to my input or it's some kind of camera effect. You also see the car sort of, you get more information from the car than you need as well, as the way it sort of moves up and down the track is not really that relevant. So there's a lot of stuff about third person that is also extraneous, but I think the best drivers just dial out of that and they dial into what they need. If you want to race for fun and you want to appreciate your liveries, by the way, this is massively underrated, then do consider driving in third person. It kind of like horrifies me that some people will never drive in third person and you'll never know what the back end of your car looks like unless it's the Ford GT, in which case you don't want to know because it's horrendous. But if you're driving something like the Pantera we got here, like, this is an experience. I feel like I'm driving this car. I'm not doing a time attack here. I'm happy if the back end steps out and I need to control it. It makes me feel like I'm wrestling the car. So definitely some advantages to third person. And if you're doing something like a drag race or a drafting race, for example here at Daytona on the Tri-Oval, then again it's great to have that third person. You can assess your bump drafting and you can try and slot back in if you're overtaking someone. But I'm not going to sit on the fence here. I'm not going to just give you a load of, you know, pros and cons and not tell you what I think. So what I think is, and this is also with the benefit of me doing a lot of Forza recently, and in Forza I've been driving in third person. But for Gran Turismo is such a precise platform. It allows you to develop incredible driving skills that are transferable to other sims and real world racing, and I'm sort of a testament of that myself in what I was doing last year. I really recommend that you use or try bonnet camera in Gran Turismo because A, it gives you the most realistic sensation of racing. The feelings are more, they're more in proportion to what you experience in real life. But also it allows you to maximize the precision of the Gran Turismo driving platform. Now someone like Forza is inherently an unstable or more unstable driving platform. There's a lot more going on. The cars lose traction a lot more frequently, brake traction, back ends come out a lot more. So I kind of go with the flow and I drive in third person because it's all a chaotic experience. But in Gran Turismo, you can go around and learn and start lapping circuits within a tenth and be very, very, very precise and almost put a 50p piece or a, what do you call it in the US, a dime on the apex of a corner and try and hit it lap after lap. So I'm not going to sit on the fence here. I'm going to recommend you driving bonnet camera, and to see what you can do in that, watch this video now, me in bonnet cam.